Hello. Today we are playing the second edition of Old School Tactical Volume 1. We are playing the first scenario in the campaign book. It's called Over the Border, and it's a training scenario basically to show infantry combat. The scenario is, like every other scenario in the book, is played on a small section of the map. The game comes with two very big maps, one snow map and this map here, the summer map. The map edges are here, 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 and here. So we are only allowed to move in the section. In this scenario, we play 4 turns, and we have one control hex. This is here. It's special rules say that it's controlled by the German, which is kind of weird because there's a Russian unit on it, but okay, we play as intended. And what are the other special rules? The other special rule is that German vehicles can only drive on the road here because the ground is very soft on the green fields, and whoever controls this victory point, it's a control point at the end of the game, it gets 5 victory points, and plus the normal casualty points that you get from killing the other units. Normally, when you have a unit like a rifle squad, when you make a casualty, turn it around, this is 1 casualty point, and when you kill it off, there are 2 casualty points. There are also casualty points for single main counters, like the snipers and the sergeants, the lieutenants, and also for tanks. Yes, and the player with the most victory points plus casualty point at the end of the game is the winner. And when there's a draw, there's a special condition here that the Russians are the victor. I will play this game two-handed. I will play the Germans and the Russians, and of course I will try to do the best for every side to win. So let's take a look at the German forces in this scenario. We have rifle squads. They are here. There are 2 rifle squads with the lieutenant. And we have 1 rifle squad with a grenade bundle here. The normal rifle squad has 4 firepower, shoots 6, range, and has a defense of 4 and a movement value of 4. And these are the values on the top. The first is power, is the firepower. The 6 is the white 6 is how far they can shoot, is the range. The 4 in the middle here is the defense, and the big 4 at the end is how far they can go, the movement points. The Germans also have an assault squad. They are similar to the rifles, but they are not similar. They have 5 firepower, but they can only fire 4 range, and they only have 3 defense. And they can also move 4. Plus they have, when they are in the lead, they have a bonus. Then the Germans have leaders. They have 2 leaders here, lieutenant and sergeant. The difference is basically this is the right number. The lieutenant has a higher control range. This means he can help other units to rally in a 2 feet hour. Also, the Germans will get ST KFZ 222, but it comes in turn 3, and I can choose, I think this or this, where it comes in. But remember what I said, this vehicle can only move on the road, only in this scenario. The vehicle has movement 8, they have a HE firepower of 3, this means it can fire at infantry units with a power of 3. It has a front defense of 2, it has a flank defense of 1, and maximum range of 10. And it can also fire at vehicles, which is this red number here, the AP firepower. But in this scenario, it doesn't matter because the Russians don't have any vehicles. Important is no riders, so I can't put infantry units in it. Open top, it's an open top has a bunch of special rules for vehicles. Let's just remember that open top vehicles you can basically shoot the crew, but you can't kill the vehicle with the shots. But you can only shake or break them. There's also HMG here. It's the card here. This is a crude weapon. It has shots 12, range with 3 firepower, and defense of 3. And yes, it sits here in the forest. And this heavy machine gun, they have a special rule, sustained fire, which lets them fire 2 times at one target or at 2 targets that adjacent to another. But the downside is when you roll 2 ones by the snake eye, then the HMG is broken or out of ammo, and you replace the HMG marker with reduced squad marker. So, where are the Germans? Like I said, the HMG is here in the forest. Here is the rifle squad with a grenade bundle. The grenade bundle is a one-time use weapon with a power of 3, but you have to be adjacent. Here is one sergeant with a rifle squad with an LMG. And here is our lieutenant with 2 rifles and, yes, only 2 rifles. In old school tactical, you can use, when you have a lieutenant, or when you have a leader, you can move 2 units at once with it, but they also cost 2 impulse points. And you can also shoot with 2 units at once. It's a group fire action. And this is very, very powerful because you add the strength of the units together. In this case, it would be an 8 when I fire with this boat together. And let's say when one of this rifle squad would have a light machine gun, it would be stronger than this stack would fire with power 10. And this is the way to take out units very fast. Let's talk more about leaders. As I said, the leaders can use group actions like group fire and group move, but they also give bonus to the unit where they are together with. A leader is always together with 1 unit, not 2, 1. This leader is with this rifle squad, and he can move the other rifle squad that is on the same hex with him, but he belongs to this rifle squad. So when you fire, when you fire at a stack, the stack limit is 2 on each field, 2 man counters and plus single man counters. I forgot how many single man counters I have to check. And when you fire, let's say when you fire at this unit, you have to choose, do I fire at this rifle or the other rifle with the lieutenant? And then when you fire at the rifle with the lieutenant, you have the chance to kill the lieutenant too, which is a better choice. Okay, what bonuses leaders gives is they give plus to attack, to hit. To hit is only for tanks, but in this scenario it doesn't matter. Plus 1 to the rally roll. The OBA accuracy doesn't matter here too. in this scenario, and he also gives plus 1 in melee. And as it's here, it allows group actions. Okay, let's take a look at Russian units. The Russians have also rifle squads. They are a little bit weaker than the German rifle squad in firepower, and everything else they are the same. The Russians have their shock squads, which quite similar to the German assault squad, but they have a better defense of 4, but they have a shorter range of only 3. The Russians have a sniper. This is single main counter. Snipers, there are also a bunch of special rules, but they are basically, they can shoot at other single main counters, and they can kill the lieutenant or kill the sergeant of a stack, which is a thing that only snipers can do. And Russian leader is basically the same as the German leader, the sergeant here. The Russians also have an anti-tank rifle. It's anti-tank rifle. This rifle units have it, and yes, it has a range of 4 and AP firepower of only 1, which is not very good, but yes, that's the only anti-tank gun that the Russians possess in this scenario. Okay, we will not go too deep into the rules. We will go more into detail when we play the game. But I will describe very, very fast how the combat works in this game. Basically, we have to check the strength of a unit and the defense. Let's say this unit will fire at this unit. So this shock troop has a range of 3, it can shoot. It has a firepower of 5. The German rifle has defense power of 4. There are a bunch of modifications from the terrain, but here there's nothing. So we fire with a firepower of 5 on a defense of 4. Then this is basically a +1 shot, like 5 minus 4 is 1. Then we check this table here. And we see there are columns, and we are at the +1 column. And then we just roll 2d6s. Oh, this is a good shot. And then we check the row, and we see what happens to the unit. And X is the unit is eliminated completely. And C means casualty. The unit is turned around and 1 casualty point is scored. S means the unit is shocked. And B is the unit is broken. And you can also have, like you see here, you can have 2 results, like this casualty and broken, or casualty and shocked. And this only casualty is broken, this is only shocked. For broken and shocked, the unit they need to make a gut check. And when the gut check is successful, it's not broken or shaken. In this scenario, the Germans have a gut check of 7, and the Russians have a gut check of 9. So the Germans are way better. This is mostly in almost all scenarios. The Germans have a way better gut checks. And normally there are a bunch of modifiers to the die roll and also to the firepower modifier. Let's say the same situation, but the Russian unit was adjacent. That would be +1 modifier to the firepower. So it would not be the first column, but it would be the second column, which means we have a better results. And melee is very deadly. Melee is another thing. It's a little bit complicated. We We do it when we have a melee in the game. When a unit is shaken, it can also fire, but it is halved and rounded down. And yeah, there are also dice roll modifier. For example, when a unit moved, then it gets a -1 modifier. This means when you roll 11, you take -1 and you have a 10. So the unit would not be killed, but only a casualty and maybe broken. There are height advantage, disadvantages. Ambush is for hidden units. Shaken units in melee. We have elite units and poor quality units. And intensifier is a way to shoot when you are basically spent, which is very risky because you became shaken. But this also is a little bit complicated. We get to it when in the game. But there is also a leader casualty roll when you have a stack like this with the leader here, and you shoot. You remember you can't shoot at the leader directly. You always shoot at the squad. Exception is a sniper. And when you do casualties to the squad, you roll, and on a 1, the leader is destroyed. And when you kill the whole unit off, the leader is destroyed on a 1, 2, 3. And the leader have to always make a gut check or a broken check when the unit does. Okay. The combat for vehicles works very similar, but there's one exception. The vehicles need to hit first. So there are 2 rolls in combat for the vehicles. They first need to hit. Let's take this anti-tank gun. We have the 2-hit roll here, and you have to first you have to roll 2 d6s and check if you have hit 7 or greater, and then you do the same as I described for the infantry table, but on the vehicle combat table. It would be only a firepower of 1. Let's say he fires at the as this 222 with a defense of 2. This would be a -1, and he rolls again and see what side he got. The vehicles don't have casualties, but they have damage rolls. When you do the damage result, you roll on this. Can you see this? Yes. On this table, and you can like immobilize, you can damage the gun, you can even make the vehicle abandon, or on a 1 or 2 there is minor damage, which is nothing. And when the vehicle got 2 damages, it's automatically destroyed. Okay, so much for vehicles. As I said, we will not see very much vehicle combat in this scenario. So let's look at the map. How is the situation here? The Germans need to take this house here where the control point is, and the Russians need to defend this. The greatest firepower the Germans have is this lieutenant with the 2 rifle squads. He also sits in a house right now. He is a bit hidden by the wood. You can't fire through it. The wood's blocked line of sight, basically. We have also the sergeant here with his rifle squad with an LNG sitting in the forest. Also, that's like the second most powerful unit the Germans have. We have this rifle here with a bundle, and we have this HMG, the scout weapon, which can the thing can fire 12. Thing can overwatch the whole field. But firepower 3 is not very high. It can fire 2 times, yes, but HMGs are not that scary in this game. The most scary thing is like a stack with a leader. But it can fire, as I said, it can fire 2 times. It can shake this unit a bit up. So the Russians, they got in this forest, they also got a sergeant with a rifle squad and an LMG. This is the strongest unit of the Russians. This squad sitting, the shock troop sitting in this house with this weird rule that this German control point. As I read in the rules, you have to move onto or through a control point to turn it to your side. But I haven't read anything when you start on it that this is a little bit weird rule. With that's the control hex is German here. But okay, let's say when this unit moves, then it becomes Russian. Okay, so the Germans have a chance to shoot with the HMG, and maybe they shock the troop or they break them, and then they can't take control of this control hex because the unit need to be in good order to control access. Good order means they are not shaken or not broke. We have also, for the Russian sides, rifle squad here with the IT rifle, which is a weird position. I think this AT gun will have to take care of the SDKFC 222 when it comes around. And we have the sniper here, and this sniper needs to take care of the lieutenant when he sees him, or the sergeant. But in best case, the lieutenant, because he orders the 2 rifle squads, and even if he shakes the lieutenant, he can't do any leader actions more. This would be good. Okay. The games in Old School Tactical are played with impulse points. With an impulse point, you can activate the unit, you can shoot, you can move. Sometimes you can do special actions like laying smoke and so on. And you can basically do 2 actions, but you cannot move twice in a turn. So, like when I move, then I do a marker that I have moved, and let's say I fired, then I can flip this marker and the user's unit is used, and it still can do one thing. This is an exception. This game, it can do intensifier, which is a shot with a negative modifier, and it shakes the unit, but it's like the last choice that a unit can do. Okay, the impulse points in this game random. You in every scenario there there's written how many impulse points the sides have. In this scenario, we see that the Germans have 2d6 impulse points, and the Russians have 1d6 plus 2. So the turns can swing, but usually with 2 dice. In the games I played before, it wasn't usually a problem, as maybe you see it here on the paper. And it can make games very interesting and very narrative. Okay. So the Germans have 2d6 and the Russians have 1d6 plus 2. But before we roll, let's take a look at the turn sequence. Okay. So the game this is the turn sequence for the game. we basically can start the first turn with the initiative roll. We roll 2d6 and the who rolls higher can do the first impulse. We roll the impulse points, we play the turn, and after all impulse points are spent, then comes the melee phase. So all units that are in melee means they're in the same hex, do a melee phase. Okay, then we have like a cleanup phase, we score victory points, end of turn, end of game, victory points, and so on. When the turn starts, what is important here? We can attach the leader to another unit and we can swap weapons around, we can pick weapons up. And what is also important, we can do the free rally, this is important, and free block rolls. So at the start of the turn, every unit that was shaken before have a free rally roll, and so we can get rid of the shaken and broken markers. Okay, let's just start and see how it goes.
Operation Barbarossa is launched. Explosive clashes happen all along the front. This is one small clash of troops just over the border. A German recon unit looks to take a small farmhouse from the Bolsheviks.
Yeah, first I roll the dice for the initiative. Who will start first? So it looks like the Russians start. And I will track this here with this dice. The board has a lot of spaces for tracking everything like casualties, turns, impulse points. But as I said, the board is very big and my camera cannot film everything. So I will, this blue dice is the turns. This is who started, and the impulse points I will track here on the side of the board and not in the screen. Okay, the Russian start. Now we will roll for the impulse points. Let's see. The Russians have 4 and the Germans have 6. So the Russian starts, but we have to remember we only have 4 impulse points for the Russians. We definitely want to shoot with this sergeant here. It's because he has a firepower of 3 plus the light machine gun is 5, and the sergeant also gives +1 to the roll. Is very strong unit here. And we also want to shoot with this sniper because we have to get rid of these leaders here. So I think let's see the line of sight. Forest block line of sight, so we can see the lieutenant here. We can see the sergeant, the German, but it would be a very difficult shot because first he is in the woods. Woods give +2 defense, which is very good. And he also needs to shoot through this hedge here. It also gives a -1. This unit we can't see because of wood that is blocking line of sight. The HMG, I think this is the best target now because it only has defense 3 and there's nothing in the line of sight that reduces our firepower. So let's take this shot. So we have a firepower of 5, 3 plus 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 axes. The range is okay. And we have a defense of 3 plus the terrain, the woods are 2. This is 5 attack, 5 defense is 0. We roll 2d6. which is an 8. And we have the sergeant, which gives us +1 to the roll. This is a 9. And a 9 this is a casualty. So we have our first casualty. We turn this marker around. And we will track the casualty points with these dice here. So one German casualty. Black is German. Okay. And we put the fired marker here. Okay, now it's time for the Germans. The Germans will move this lieutenant to the wood. Nobody has line of sight to him because of this forest here, and this forest gives him 2 defense. But when he enters this hex, these units have line of sight to him, and they can react fire. How is this called here? Opportunity fire, sorry. So we spent 2 impulse points because we move both rifle squads and the lieutenant here. And now the Russian player can choose to opportunity fire. What's the difference? He theoretically could just wait for now is his turn, and he could fire normally. There is a difference when he does opportunity fire and he makes damage to a unit, and the unit needs to stop moving. And when he does so, the German player is a German player's turn again. So let's say this unit wants to move here. He moves 1, 2. He shuts it's the unit. He does a casualty. Then the unit needs to stop. And the German it's the German's turn again. This is usually better than just firing at your turn, because when you miss, then you have still your turn. So the Germans go here, and the Russians will spend one impulse point to fire with the sniper. Yep, the sniper fires at the lieutenant. The sniper only have a firepower of 2, but when he fired at leaders or other snipers, it's doubled. So he have a firepower of 4, and the lieutenant has a defense of 4 plus what? 6. This is -2 table. And let's roll for the sniper. Wow. Wow. The Russians are in luck. This is an 11 on a -2 table. This is casualty and shaken. What an insane shot. The leader is dead. The snipers and leaders, the single person counters, only have 1 alive. There's no other side here. He's dead. The Russians have killed the lieutenant with the first shot in the game. That was the second shot. Nevertheless, this is the second casualty for the Germans, and really heavy one. This was the strongest unit from the Germans. Okay, let's see how this scenario will play out.
Soldaten, vorwärts! Haltet die Schnur! Один выстрел. Один офицер.
So, since Lieutenant is dead, I think we fire with the HMG 2 times at the sergeant, even if it's reduced in firepower, we still can have a little bit luck. So the HMG here fires at the sergeant. We do not fire. Maybe we can fire. We don't fire. There's no wall, no? No, there's no wall. Yes, whereas the HMG will fire at the shock troop in this building here. This is a light building, so it only gives one defense, but there was cover from the start of the scenario here in this building, so it has 2 defense. And the shock troops have 4 defense, so it's a 6. The German HMG have only 2 firepower, but it can fire 2 times with the risk of getting out of ammo. But it will risk with the Germans need to take a little bit of risk. So the first shot, this is a -4, so we need at least a 9 to shake it up. This is a 5, 6, 7, 8. It's nothing. And the other shot, this is also nothing. Okay. So the Russians. The Russians will pass. In this game, when you can pass your impulse, and if you have fewer impulses left right now than your opponent, you don't lose an impulse. So the Russians have right now 2 impulses left, and the Germans have 4. So I can pass for free. If this is not the case, if you have fewer or same impulses, then you can't pass for free. You can still pass, but it will cost you 1 impulse point. So, since the Russians have fewer impulse points, they will pass, and the Germans are again. But the Germans in a very difficult situation, because when the sergeant tries to move out of the forest, the Russians can immediately opportunity fire him without the cover from the forest. So what he will do, they will try to merge together to one stack. The first, this rifle here moves here to the forest. The Russians will pass again. Okay, they are Germans. Spend the impulse points. They only have 2 left, and they move the sergeant together to the other rifle squad. Movement in forest is cost 2. Normally, a normal field only costs 1. So these both squads have moved now, and they are now together. But the sergeant is still on this rifle squad, but he can now move with a group action. He can now move both, and he can also fire both, which is very scary right now because it's 4-4, and the light MG, they are 10. They are firing with 10, and this is terrifying. Okay, now the Russians. They can't pass anymore for free because both sides have only 2 impulse points left. So what will the Russians do now? Okay, since the Russian sniper is such good luck, he will try again. Why not? The sergeant is 8 hexes away, and the sniper tries to get his second kill. This is again 4 against 4 plus 2. This is 6, so again at -2. He fires second shot. Let's see. No, this time it's a miss, and a very bad one. Okay. The German will fire again with the HMG at the shock troop. They will fire 2 times, and this was 2 against 6, so at -4. And I must not roll snake eye. 8. I need a 9. This is a miss, and second shot. a miss. Okay, it's the Russians' last input point, and they will try to fire at Sergeant Brunner here with the Russian sergeant. It's a very hard shot, but maybe we can at least shake this squad. We will fire at the rifle of the sergeant with the LMG. So we have power of 3 and the LMG is 5. They have a defense of 6 in the woods. And we fire through this hedge here, so it's also -1 firepower. So it's 5 minus 1 is 4, again 6, it's -2. 5 is nothing. Okay, miss. Okay, the last impulse point for the German. Oh, I forgot. The Russians also get a +1 to the roll, but it was nevertheless a miss. +1 because of the sergeant. They give +1 to the dice modifiers. Okay. The Germans will fire with, they have basically 2 opportunities here. The sergeant can fire, or one of the rifle squads can fire. I can't fire with the whole stack because I only have 1 impulse points left here. So, but it's still mathematically better, even if I fire through this hedge here. And I have moved, this is also -1 for dice modifiers, because I have the LMG. So it's firepower of 6. So I have 6. And because of the hedge, I have only 5. And the defense of the Russians here is 4 plus the woods is 6. Oh. So it's -1. And I would get a -1 modifier for moving, but I also get a +1 modifier for the attached leader. So it's just normal roll on the -1. 4. This is a miss. Okay. And this was turn 1. We take away all those counters. Okay. There are no melees. We don't score victory point. It's the end of the turn, and we start with the new turn. Turn 3.